This will be part two of my RV life. Of course, it began right after I got back from the U.S. Peace Corps in 1997, or excuse me, 96. Is that right? Yeah, 96. But anyway, the first RV I had, I mentioned in the first video, was a 1985 Aljo travel trailer with two doors, weighed a ton, pulled it with a 79 Chevrolet pickup. So that brings you up to right now. And my second RV was a 1997 Kit Sportsman 18 footer, and it probably weighed about, I'm going to say between 2,500 and 3,000 pounds. And I pulled that one with a Ford uh, F 150 V6 manual transmission. Why I got a manual transmission, I do not know. I regretted it right away. For some reason in my mind, the old school thinking was that a manual transmission had more towing capacity than an automatic, which is not true. An automatic transmission has more towing capacity now and has for years than a manual transmission. But anyway, it was a Kit Sportsman, uh, 1997, and the way I got it was I sold the 1985 Aljo. I sold it to some people for $2,500, and I went to work for a gambler, a professional gambler that owned the concession on a state park for a 9-hole golf course. And of course, they had a 50-year lease. He was the quote pro, and he owned the Class C stock that was issued by that C corporation. And anyway, uh, after I'd been there a couple of years, I mean, there was a house next to the golf course. I lived in a little house. It was a one-bedroom house, about the same size as this place I live in right now. But anyway, whenever he sold the concession, he sold it to a gentleman named Michael out of Houston, and he and his wife were going to live in the house, so that put me out. And so I was looking for, something to live in. I was thinking about getting another RV, but in the interim, he somehow acquired that Kit Sportsman. He said he was going to live in it, and he tried it for a while and he didn't like it at all. He said it gave him claustrophobia, it was too small, blah, 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 all the things you hear. And so, right near the time for the new owner to take possession of the golf course, he came in one day. He had the RV parked beside one of the buildings out front, and he handed me the title to the travel trailer. And he said, "Here, you can have it. I don't want it." And that's just the kind of guy he was. You know, he was an amazing individual. And but anyway, I really liked him. I still do. I mean, I guess he's still alive. I don't know. But anyway, he just handed me the title. He said, "Here, you can have it." And I said, "Well, man, how much I owe you?" He said, "You don't owe me anything." And that's another thing. That's just the way it was. And he also gave me it came with an extended warranty from Advantage out of Florida. And I really didn't know much about extended warranties other than I didn't think much of them. I thought they were just more profit for the dealer, but it turns out that is not true. So I got the Kit Sportsman, and within a week or so, the new owner came and took possession of the house, and so I left. But anyway, but in the interim, one of the golfers there, I wished I could remember his name. Uh, Nice guy. But anyway, he gave me. I didn't have a hitch or anything. So he gave me a hitch, for the to hook up the RV and all that stuff, and we had to drill some holes and all crap. But anyway, so we got it all figured out, and again, I had a new pickup. I guess it was a 1990. Wait a minute, it might have been. This was in the year 2000 or 2001, whenever. And but anyway, I had a new Ford pickup I'd bought, a V6, again standard transmission. So that was what I was going to tow it with, and it worked okay. And but what I did was I had contacted Work Camper, and I had taken a job, a traveling job with Work Camper as a pipeline inspector. In other words, and they were out of, you had to go to Cumming, Georgia, near Atlanta. That's where I stayed in the RV park, and they had a training facility about 30 minutes away, depending on traffic, because the traffic around Atlanta, Georgia, folks, is hell. All right, so I pulled the RV out there, went through the training session, and then my first stop was I want to say Alvarado, Texas. Around Fort Worth area. I was there for a few months, and then traveled to Vernon, Texas, Wichita Falls. It was a traveling job. But the good thing about the pipeline inspecting job was you were completely a free spirit. Nobody was looking over your shoulder. You arrived at a given community and contacted the gas company. Went in. They had maps. Showed you, where their pipelines were, and which ones were to be inspected and so forth. And so yeah, you got the maps, and away you went. You went out and you walked those pipelines and checked them and so forth, and you traveled to the next location. And that was a great RVing experience. And because of not only was it just being a free spirit, I would never have thought about going to Vernon, Texas. Okay, like Tornado Alley. One night the wind, and I was at the RV campground in Vernon, Texas, and the winds got up to about 80 miles an hour that night. That little RV, the drill. And anyway, the next morning I went in the office and I mentioned it to the manager, and she said, that's just a high wind. I said, damn if it ain't, she said they get that quite a bit, or not quite a bit, every now and then. So yeah, that was an experience. And then of course Wichita Falls, and then I ended up my last station with them, or job with them, was in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Humid as hell, man. I mean, I'm telling you, inside the RV, even with the air conditioner on, the water would be dripping from the ceiling. I'm telling you, it was that humid. It was unbelievably, man. You talk about humid times 10. So anyway, I got me a dehumidifier, and it would fill it up overnight. I mean, it was terrible. So I really didn't want, I was about tired of it anyway, and I was getting close to uh, being able to draw Social Security age 62. So I thought, hell, I'll just go back to Texas, and I did. And I always liked that area around Kingsland, Texas. And so anyway, I drove around, I parked at an RV park that had just opened, and it was run by an old Vietnam vet that had one of his legs blown off during the Vietnam War. Nice guy, man, really nice. And so yeah, I started looking around, found a couple of lots actually, and that were together, and they were for sale at the right price. So I bought them, and then I thought, well, hell, why should I stay here in the RV park? Why not just pull the RV over there and park it? They had a property owners association, but it was inactive. They really weren't checking everything out, because I noticed there were other people doing similar things. So yeah, I just backed out in the brush, and I had me a 1000i Honda generator that I had acquired while I was out in the Big Bend area. I lived on the Terlingua Ranch for a couple of years, but that's in between. The dates are hard to get them all straightened out. But anyway, and so I had acquired that Honda generator while I was out there, because I had no power at all, other than I had some propane for cooking, but I needed something to power stuff, to because I had an ice chest. I wasn't concerned about the refrigerator and stuff. But anyway, but as far as Kingsland, acquired the lots, backed in. Then I started clearing it, and I did it all by hand. I cut the trees down, I dug up stumps. It was a hell of a job, but it gave me something to do. And eventually, I cleared a big spot, and parked the RV in another area, and eventually I got a cover for the RV, and that was the kind of the kit story. But I lived in that kit for a long time, man. Even when I got the RV cover, uh, and the pad and all the stuff set up, I was still living in that kit. And I'm trying to think what I did with that kit. Oh, I know what it was. I went out to Alpine and stayed at it's called, it's up over the mountain, 118 going south. Oh, La Vista RV Park, a small RV park. And I was staying there. And one night, or one afternoon, I was going to wash clothes. They had within about 50 feet from where I was parked. was a big clubhouse and they had a laundry room, restroom, showers, and all that stuff. And I thought, well, I'm going to go wash clothes. So I had my clothes basket and I'm walking towards the laundromat, and all of a sudden I hear this boom, boom. I thought, what in the hell is that, you know? And then I looked around and there were hailstones about the size of, well, not quite as big as softballs, but a little bit bigger than a billiard ball or a pool ball, you know what I mean? Like this, you know what I mean? And boom, boom. I mean, they were spaced far apart. Thank goodness, or I'd have been dead. But they were hitting the ground, and so then I determined to see how fast I could get back in my RV and into safety, I thought. So I go back into my little kit, Sportsman RV, 19 feet long, and get in there, and boom, 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 everything's hitting the roof, and I mean, it's noisy as hell, and I can get that hail, I got that. And anyway, so I thought, man, this is going to be bad. And about that time, one actually came all the way through the roof and hit the floor and bounced. I thought, okay, and it was real jagged, had all these little spikes and crap on it. You know, I mean, it looked like bad stuff. So then I got in the back of the RV, well, where the bed was. I lifted the bed up and got under it. But it helped. I mean, nothing hit back there though. It all hit in the kitchen, dining area, and fine with me. There were four hailstones that came all the way through the roof and hit on the floor, I think about, and I kept them in the freezer so I could show them to the Geico adjuster. And so, but anyway, while the hailstorm was going on, I called Geico and filed a claim. I mean, it was the hailstorm ended about the time I ended the claim, you know, getting it filed, because I wanted to be one of the first, thinking, my God, you know, if those hailstones are that big, there's going to be a thousand claims, you know. And yeah, because it broke out in one of the windows of the RV and all the crap, man. Anyway, enough said about that. So the adjuster comes out. It's very back then. Geico was Johnny on the spot. You know, I don't. Apparently now they may not be. I don't know. But anyway, they showed up 2 days later, and the guy, you know, he looked up on the roof and saw all the damage and shit. You know, all the stuff on the side of the RV and crap. You know, and yeah, he said, you know, we'll total it. You know, no question about that. You know, and anyway, the next day I get a call and he said that they were going to send me a check for like $4,500 for totaling it out, and I think it might have been 65. It was I was very satisfied because it was like finding money, because it had been a gift to me, and then now somebody's going to give me some money for it, and so. But anyway, they did send me a check, but they didn't take the unit in salvage. In other words, no one came to pick up the RV to take it anywhere. And I called the guy and he said, no, man. He said, you can do whatever you want to with it. And I said, okay, I will. So I went into town in Alpine, Texas, and bought some of that old black Mastix roofing seal crap, and took it back out to the RV park, climbed up on the roof, and you had one of those little spatula looking things, and I just found every hole and plugged it with that black stuff, and there were 22 holes in the roof that I plugged, and one window was broken out, and I had a glass company from Alpine come out and replace that window, and I kept that unit in that condition for a long time. I mean, no kidding. Did it bother me that it had that stuff on the roof? Not a bit, not a bit. You know. But then it also had, even before that hail damage, there were leaks around the windows. Okay, because this thing had a front window. You had this thing you lifted up in the front, and there was a beautiful window in the front to see out. I loved it. You know. In fact, one time I wouldn't have a travel trailer without it, but finally I did. But anyway, it it was crap. you know, you think of the things that you say you wouldn't live in something, you would. I promise you would. You know, but it was okay with me. You know, and I never, in any travel trailer I ever had, big, small, medium, whatever, I never had any claustrophobic experience. You know, like this is a really small place, because when you're inside of an RV, for some reason, to me, they feel spacious. You know what I mean? I mean, like that little 19-foot thing, but of course it had a separate bedroom area. It had a little kitchen area, and then it had a front dining thing that folded down into a bed if you needed it for somebody else, but that would have been a little crowded. It had a full shower that you could stand up in, and toilet and all that. It wasn't a wet bath. I mean, it was a regular shower with a toilet thing, and in that little space, and it just was fine with me, man. And by then I had learned all about gray water, black water, the fresh water. I learned how to replace the 12-volt water pump. I mean, I was getting to be a pro by then, and yeah. So once you get that and you start carrying, some of that silicone sealer, so that whenever there's a leak around the windows, you can seal it up, or whatever you've got, you can seal it up. And yeah, but the problem with leaks in RVs, particularly that one was the one that had the most leaks for some reason. But it can be, the water can be coming down the wall in the front right side. So you think the leak is right above that. Well, that's crap. I mean, the actual leak on the roof or the side could be on the left upper, you know what I mean? And so you got to just go around the RV, and everything that looks like it could leak or would let water in, seal it. And I did. And but some of them were a little more difficult than others, because I can remember one leak that there was a window at the head of the bed, and for some reason that window would leak around, and the water would actually get on the bed, because it would run down the wall on the inside, at the bottom, and then it would get on the mattress. Anyway, I like to never found that one. And what it was is on the roof, on the left hand side of the back, where the bed is, but the bed was on the right hand side, where the roof was sealed to the unit. You could hardly see it, man. It was such a microscopic little crack, but for some reason that little seam was not sealed for about 2 inches. All right. But I had looked over that roof 10 times and missed that. But one day I was climbing up the ladder. It had a ladder on the back. I was climbing up the ladder, and my little eyes were right eye level with that seam. And I thought, well, damn, I bet that's it. Man, I pumped that silicone sealer in there, man. I mean, I bet I put 5 pounds of sealer in there. I mean, it was not going to leak again. And anyway, so that actually stopped it. And that's kind of the story of the kit RV. And so we've moved up 2 RVs. We've gone from an Aljo to a kit. And then the next period we'll get into, of my RV life, we'll talk about, I had a Jayco J Flight. I had I bought it new, by the way. And then I did Prius camping and pickup camping, and I bought a casita and all that. And we'll get into that in the next parts. But yeah, it was an interesting life, and I'm probably going to get the dates out of order, because it's all screwed up in my old mind. But yeah, for 27 years, man, I lived in an RV full time, no kidding. And this is the first time in all those years that I've had a house, and this is a 480 square foot tiny home, which seems quite nice to me. I got to tell you, the biggest difference is from transitioning from an RV back to a home is it's nice. I mean, I've got a queen size bed, extremely comfortable, plenty of room in the bedroom, got a huge closet to hang all my clothes in. I mean, I can even find my socks, underwear, and t-shirts. How about that? And everything's in order. I got a washer and dryer, I got a flush toilet, a full shower, it's a tile shower. And, I'd forgotten about how nice homes can be. And, the wind blows and the house doesn't move. And, yeah, it's, yeah, it's pretty damn nice, and no water leaks. And yeah, so anyway, with that in mind, this is the end of part 2 of my RV life. Again, there is a playlist for my RV life on my channel, and you can watch these in some kind of order in the future if you choose to. But anyway, guys, thumbs up, carpe diem, adios, bye-bye, buy anything you want. Use the Amazon link if you want to fool with it. Drink plenty of water, stretch, walk, stand guard at the door of your mind, because what you let in are ingredients, okay? So let in positive stuff. And yeah, if you're going to be RVing, some people ask me, why did you start RVing? Well, when I came back from a Peace Corps experience, I realized that, the way of life I had been living before, big home, big, fancy car, a lot of stuff, furniture, was not the way of life I enjoyed or wanted to pursue anymore. and that's where the RV life started right there. I thought, hell, I'll get me an RV, and we'll see, we'll go, we'll just do it, and I did, and 27 years later, back in a little house. Anyway, guys, enjoy your life, enjoy your, well, now happy holidays. This is right around Christmas time, 2023. So yeah, we're just moving towards Christmas now, and enjoy your life, guys. Adios, bye bye. Fun, eh?